Well, it's a pretty quick turnaround, but we are back once again here on Pit Road Productions for the Almeida Racing League Season 6, and we have stuck with the Spec Racer Fords from last season. They provided such incredible action that we decided to keep them around for at least one more season. Things kick off here at the end of December 2025 at the Cup layout of Watkins, Glen in upstate New York. What a fantastic arena for the first round of this new championship. 11 rounds in total, and you're going to see the first right here. Bringing it to you live on the Pit Road Productions channel and Swelio Almeida's channel as well. It is myself, Reese Gardner, with Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the commentary box and handling production behind the scenes. Well, Zippy, we are running the Cup layout of Watkins Glen, and that brings with it the NASCAR track limits. If it's paved, they can use it. We're going to be seeing a lot of track extension today.
Oh, absolutely. And I got to say, Reese, this is one of the few races I've actually been driving this combo a little bit recently as well. I think I did a league race here, may have been yesterday. I've been doing some racing here with this combo, and it's definitely been a lot of fun. I have seen some of the students as well joining in on them pit parties as well. Certainly seen Rich Meesters in there. But I got to say, speaking of students, we have a whole collection of new names in here, Reese. There's certainly going to be a few that I'm probably going to butcherize, and not student, but the names, but certainly looking forward to that. But Reese, it's good to be back here for another season. Not even better to be back here again with the Spec Racer 4. Definitely a car very close to my heart on that one. But let's take a quick look here at the schedule. Let's see where we're going to go throughout the season.
Indeed, we are starting this week at Watkins Glen, then Barber Motorsports Park for the first race of 2026. Phoenix is the first endurance round of the season. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for round 4 in Montreal. Then we go to Motorland Aragon for round 5. That'll be an interesting one. Oschersleben for round 6. Round 7 takes us to our second endurance round of the season at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. Then round 8 at the Chicago Street Circuit, followed up by Alton Park, replacing the Nordschleife from the initial schedule. And then Imola and Lebanon to round out the season in March. The format for tonight, well, the drivers have already done their 60 minutes of practice. Now they're into their 15 minutes of open qualifying. Slipstream is going to be crucial. The first heat race of 15 minutes, the top 7 for this round will be inverted for the start of race 2, which will run for the same amount of time. 20-minute feature with the grid set by the results of Heat 2. No fast repair, and it's fixed setup, so every driver is driving the exact same settings. It's going to all be down to how you can adapt over the course of the day's racing. Oh man, it's so good to be back, Zippy. The Almeida Racing League has been with us here at Pit Road Productions from the very start, and we've watched this league grow and evolve over time. We've had plenty of drivers make massive developments over the course of their time in this series. Some have moved on to other pastures, but we have many of our usual suspects right here to fight again.
Absolutely, indeed. We've got some names it's definitely good to see back. Thomas Nieminen has indeed returned, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly probably my favourite Finland driver. Indeed, good to see he has returned. We got Zoltan Zomator. We got Kevin Adrian, ladies and gentlemen, the absolute machine in the rain. There's a fun thought as well. Could we maybe try and convince Swelio to give us a rain race? That would definitely be interesting. And honestly, I don't know if we can say any gambling references, but if I was a betting man, I'd put a lot of money on Kevin Adrian in the rain. He is an absolute animal behind the wheel when it starts to get a little bit slippery. Cairo Enns makes a return as well, Brian Lenz. And indeed, Connor Bell's going to be out on the track today. We're actually going to be talking to him a little bit later on during the show. Definitely looking forward to that. Dominic Sayu as well, though. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he was in the... I believe he was in the club class last season. Indeed, he has returned, ladies and gentlemen. He's back as well. As indeed, Andrew Calabrese, Dalton Tomato, I believe we said him as well. Barrett Blumert, we saw him at the end of last season. But ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget about this man. This is going to be a name that you're going to be very familiar with. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Ian Joyner.
Oh, yes. Joyner dominated last season's proceedings. He had some big competition from Edwin Rivera early on, but Rivera's job as a ski instructor took him away from the last half of the season, and that left Joyner to just run away with it. He had such a huge points total, he didn't even need to show up for the final round, and he didn't. But he's back here to defend his reigning title. Let's see where he ends up in the session. In a qualifying session that I think is going to be quite jumbled thanks to the lottery card that is the slipstream around here. You can gain quite a bit of time around this place with its high average speeds and very small levels of downforce on the Spec Racer Ford as well. I'm seeing a lot of club drivers making their way into the top 10, and speaking of the Pro and of the Premier, and club classes, we can differentiate them a little more easily now. Of course, we do still have the Premier class showing up as gold in our overlays, where their numbers are, and club class as silver, but also we will have club class cars, I believe, showing up as 3-digit numbers with the 1 in front of their other 2 digits. So that's another opportunity for you to differentiate between our 2 classes today that are competing for the same points. They are not scored separately. That's worth keeping in mind throughout the season too.
Yeah, and certainly we're going to have a couple of endurance rounds as well this season. Round 3 and indeed round 7, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be Phoenix and in Catalunya. We'll test these drivers slightly differently. And I got to admit, there is a driver lurking back there who I honestly thought I didn't have a paint loaded, but indeed they have actually gone for such a colourful paint. I'm not quite sure who it is just yet, ladies and gentlemen. We will try and find it throughout the show. Obviously qualifying in the midst right now, but right now the gold drivers, I'd say the gold drivers, the Premier drivers, ladies and gentlemen, top 4 rounded out by Mason Kuhn, and he then got a couple of the cup class mixed in. Honestly, it is a very much a pebble dash going through the order right now. As you can see here, the draft is going to be absolutely monumental. I'm going to say there's going to be at least a second, maybe even more, taking this draft into account.
Oh yeah, the top time in qualifying at the moment, a 1 minute 20.92 in the hands of Jeremy Childers, who's having a really good run in this session. We're just about to get to the halfway point as well as Mason Kuhn goes to the top, 1 minute 20.8. He is beaten by Jeremy Childers, who gets the slipstream and brings the top time down to a 1 minute 20.6. No other improvements from any of the drivers in the pack. Go on board a lap there as... Whoa!
Oh boy!
Hello! Yeah.
That's Jeremy Childers, as you were, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we can see that the track limits are not a concern. Of course, this is the Cup layout of Watkins Glen, and of course it has the NASCAR Cup track limits. So they can run all the way out to the wall on the exit of Turn 1. And coming into the bus stop here, they can obviously use all of the curb. That's a little bit of disagreement up ahead. That may... result in some poor laps for a few drivers there. Coming out of the carousel, you are able to use all of the tarmac out here as well, but it looks like we won't be seeing that from our onboard car of Childers. You are, of course, able to use all of the pavement on the exit of the penultimate turn here as well, but these onboard Zippy, they really give you a sense of how high the average speeds are here at Watkins Glen, how much load is going through the tyres through these turns.
He definitely spent a lot of time on throttle, and I gotta be honest, I did not know Jeremy Childers was going to put that in the car. Honestly, I'm a little bit touched by it. It's a pleasant surprise, ladies and gentlemen, on a Saturday morning, afternoon, or indeed evening, wherever you may be. So thank you, Jeremy, for that. But you can see there, he was lifting right back out of that. He's very intentionally wanted to stay there in the draft, as Thomas Nieminen has made it to the top of the food chain, ladies and gentlemen. A club class driver nonetheless.
Yeah, indeed. Nieminen has had... hello, he'll have to compromise his exit there. Nieminen has been one of those drivers that has always been in and around the top 10 in this series, and he's still looking for a good run of wins. Maybe he'll be able to start that off today if he plays his cards right. Got to be so careful on the exit of turn 1 there. It's very easy to hit the wall. I mean, at the very least, it's a physical limit, so you know when you've messed up.
Oh, very much so. I mean, I gotta be honest, Watkins Glen Cup layout, you certainly do have your foot on the loud pedal for the majority of the lap. I do personally prefer the longer layout, but don't get me wrong, the Almeida Racing Academy following the iRacing schedule for the Spec Racer Ford, but every single round except one, ladies and gentlemen, the Nordschleife will be replaced by Alton Park, and we had a little bit of discussion about that earlier. Now, it's definitely mixed feelings, because from a teaching point of view, how on earth do you try and teach somebody an 8-mile or 14-kilometer circuit? Like, that is a lot of retail to cover, ladies and gentlemen. That's a lot of ground to cover. But I gotta be honest, I kind of don't know. I don't know if I would have wanted it or not myself. The Nordschleife, I've always found it's been a little bit of survival there. You see a little bit of a tank slapper from the car in front of Neiman in there. Oh, still going. Yep. But I have a feeling, though, Alton Park will be absolutely incredible. It is indeed a track that makes it to the Princess Approved track list.
Yeah, it's a really good track, and I think in terms of narrowness, it rivals the Nürburgring, so I think it's a worthy replacement. There is also a chance that if we were to race at the Nürburgring Nordschleife, we might run well over time, because these are timed races, and it's an incredibly long lap. We don't have that problem here at Watkins Glen. Laps run about 80 to 82 seconds when you are at full chat. 4 minutes to go in qualifying, and we still have Nieminen on top of the standings. Jose Gustavo in the number 15, only just setting his personal best in qualifying, putting himself on the provisional front row. Rupesh Pineni has managed to make his way up to P6 just now. His first time in the 1 minute 20-second bracket. Zoltan Zomator makes an improvement and moves up to P6 as well. So we're seeing quite a bit of competition for the middle phase of the top 10. Small improvement from Rich Meesters as well, getting up to 22nd. And Ian Joyner is gradually increasing his pace. He's made it up to 14th now, just on the verge of breaking into the 120s.
Well, I've got to say, that car right behind Zoltan Zomator does bring back memories of seasons last, ladies and gentlemen. It does remind me very distinctly of Martin Visser, who's sadly not here this season, I've got to say, but he was always putting it up there with that car and applying a good amount of pressure. And honestly, the way that move went down, that could have been Visser. It was absolutely textbook, ladies and gentlemen. Great stuff there, and indeed, Martin Visser, very, very potent indeed. But it's definitely good to see some fresh drivers here today in the Academy. And ladies and gentlemen, we do have about 3 minutes left to qualify, but we're going to take a quick break here and let you guys see a little bit more about what the Academy has to offer.
Now he's here teaching all his secrets to all these drivers. This is Almeida Racing Academy,
where every champion has a starting line.
The sim racer turned real world superstar, Suelio Almeida.
It's Connor Bell racing in his own backyard for the very first time in the NASCAR Canada Series.
The workshops helped out so much. Something about battling with somebody faster than you, it just pushes you that little bit further, and I was able to just keep developing my skill.
I can kind of commit more with the exit there. That was good. If you do take sim racing seriously, it does impact your racing technique for the rest of your life.
I know how the car is going to perform around these corners because of the model I have in the sim. Just the benefit of sim racing when you go into real life, I don't think people quite realize it yet.
You have infinite track time is the biggest factor. You are able to try so many things, and the physics that are simulated in the sim nowadays, especially iRacing, are so close to real life.
Creating champions.
Suelio Almeida is a master at his craft. He's outclassed a Le Mans driver, a European Le Mans Series racer.
These guys are among the top 0.02% in the world.
Designed to create champions.
First NASCAR Canada start. First NASCAR victory for Connor Bell.
Connor Bell standing on the podium here today.
This is the Almeida Racing Academy 3.0.
Way to race, buddy. Way to race.
Well, thank you so much to the Almeida Racing Academy for bringing us on board here at Pit Road Productions once again for the 6th season. $25 a month for access to all of the coaching materials on the Almeida Racing Academy to help you get better at your sim racing and transition your skills into the real world as well. A fantastic service that has certainly helped all of these drivers that you're seeing on screen at the moment. Every single driver in this field is either a student or a coach at the academy and has developed their skills over the course of their racing here. In the dying seconds of qualifying, Barrett Brummett has gained provisional pole. Adrian Hopp with a magnificent run to P4, the number 50.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, looks like my Australian counterpart has had so much enthusiasm, his mic has died just a second there, as indeed that does bring qualifying to a close, ladies and gentlemen. What an absolute belter. Certainly the draft having a huge effect, ladies and gentlemen, but indeed we are going to be getting ready for a grid very, very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Going to be an absolute belter of a race today, as here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Barrett Brummett is going to start off that order with Jose Gustavo in second. Rupesh Panani takes third with Adrian Hopp in fourth. Thomas Niemanen leads the club class, ladies and gentlemen, in the qualifying standings. He's there in fifth with Jeremy Childers alongside in sixth. Michael Hooper, he takes seventh with Philip Poulis in eighth. Philip Marvin in ninth, and indeed Alan Yang in 10th.
In 11th position will be lining up Zoltan Zomotor. He has got Jeffrey Westland alongside him, with Mason Kuhn in 13th, Brian Lenza alongside him. Jeffrey Adkins and Rich Meesters round out your 8th row of the grid. Stephen Saunders and Ian Joyner will take 17th and 18th. The top 20 rounded out by Valdas Vansevicius making his return, and newcomer to top split, Tyler Harker rounds out your top 20.
As we have a look there at 21st, it's going to be Kemal Kasim, ladies and gentlemen. I have a feeling I have seen that name before with, oh my gosh, no, sorry, my apologies, Nemanja Stravic in 22nd. In 23rd, we've got a driver from Finland, ladies and gentlemen, Tuukka Vakaeso. I do apologize if I butchered that. I'm sure it won't be the last time. With Andrew Calabresi in 24th. Dominic Sayu, he returns there in 25th with James Conrad there in 26th. Rounding out in 27th, that's actually surprisingly far back from Mr. Adrian. He's there with Philip Masson. He's returning student as well in 28th. And where are we going now? Here we go. Chris Gengaro, ladies and gentlemen, 29th. And Cairo Ends rocking it in P30.
Then it's Anthony Ori in 31st place with Connor Bell, the coach, starting at the back of the field, as is the custom. Well, 32 drivers ready to go for the start of Season 6 of the Almeida Racing League. We are here and ready. Let's give it a go. We'll have ourselves 15 minutes of racing ahead of us, and don't forget, it's the top 7 that get inverted for the start of race 2. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that 7th spot, which is currently occupied by Michael Hooper. Well, Barrett Brummett, we'll see the pace car pull into the pits ahead of him, and he's a little bit ahead of the rest of the field. They got to catch up to him by the time the green flag comes out. Into the pits comes the pace car, and we get ready for the green flag to fly. Just as the tail end of the field comes around the final corner, we are racing for Season 6 of the Almeida Racing League, and already Jose Gustavo going for the lead into turn 1 around the outside, all over the tarmac runoff. Plenty of speed being taken by our leaders, and Gustavo has just managed to clear Barrett Brummett on the way into turn 2. Rupesh Pineni side by side with our pole sitter. This is not going well for Barrett Brummett. We'll have to wait and see if he has some chance to fight back. Moving into P4, Adrian Hoppers. Barrett Brummett's going to try and make it through the middle, 3 wide, down the back straight, and here we go into the bus stop for the first time. Who's going to make it out, Zippy?
Oh, I've got a feeling we're going to see a few casualties here. But saying that, these are the Almeida Racing Academy students, ladies and gentlemen. These guys are They're potent. That's the best way of putting it. They are indeed potent on the racetrack. Indeed, that was an absolutely fantastic lead there. 7/10 of a second gain, but I've got to say, 5 wide at the start, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't seen that since Interlagos in the LMP3 and previous Almeida Racing Academy seasons.
Yeah, indeed. It's been a really interesting first lap so far. We have a bit of a breakaway from our leader as they're still fighting over second place there. Jose Gustavo getting back ahead of Rupesh Pineni, and it's side-by-side for fifth as well. Zoltan Zomator tackling Alan Yang, who's there on the inside on the way into turn 1, on board with the number 61 of Zoltan Zomator. Some slipstream being picked up by Michael Hooper. Is he going to have enough in him to go for the move? Not quite. He's going to just reserve his hand for the moment. Watkins Glen is one of those tracks where you've got to race like you're on a NASCAR super speedway.
Yeah, certainly it can actually be a little bit disorientating at times. There's definitely been a major incident at the back of the grid. I have a feeling one of our coaches got involved in that as well. Let's take a look, see what happened to Connor.
Yeah, something going very wrong for Connor Bell. And going through turn 1, a little bit of a tap from the car behind, and oh dearie me, Connor Bell, I think, was just an innocent victim in all of that. That happened right in front of him, barely any time to react.
Yeah, himself, the Manchestravic, and indeed Cairo ends getting caught up in that. But saying that, Zoltan Zomator was the hard charge, ladies and gentlemen. But say that, Mason Kuhn has now taken over that role. He's up 6 positions from the start and moved his way into P7. Meanwhile, though, ladies and gentlemen, the Brazilian driver Felipe Puls, he's currently in P8, with his next nearest competition being Thomas Newman and 2 cars behind him.
Yes, so Felipe Puls asking some questions before the event started about making sure that his paint shows up correctly. It looks like it is showing up correctly. A little bit of a tap to the wall, though, will open up the opportunity to Zoltan Zomator. That is quite an interesting paint scheme there. But Zomator up the inside at turn 1, going to try and push him a bit wide, but Felipe is going to use all of the runoff there to maintain the momentum, and Niemanen is going to fall back behind now, as it looks like he got a bit of a tap from behind. Jeffrey Westland side by side with Niemanen coming through turn 2. And there's a slot open there to the inside there. A little bit of a bump draft Jeffrey gives to Felipe Puls. Let's see how this works out for them coming to the bus stop. 3 wide. God, no. Please, no. Oh, wow. That's a big dive from Westland, and he's managed to pull it off.
Yeah, it definitely is a very high-speed game of chicken, ladies and gentlemen, and thankfully the Colonel isn't in town. Indeed, there would be more than a bucket happening if these cars come to blows, but definitely some interesting racing throughout, and I've got to say, this is one of the reasons I absolutely love the Spec Racer board. Looking at my timing screen, ladies and gentlemen, the first 27 cars, all of them less than a second to each other, absolutely incredible. The only exception here being with Michael Hooper, who's currently about 1.3 seconds ahead of Jeffrey Westland. But saying that, Westland could potentially catch up. Last lap, though, ironically, both Hooper and Westland both at 121.55 on the nose, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, very close competition between them. Westland has got some more pressure as well from Felipe Puls, who pulls to the inside. Ha 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 ha. And into turn 1 they come, and it's a good over-under there from Jeffrey. He's managed to get the position back. Zomator, meanwhile, managing to defend from Brian Lenz, but the battle for 8th will continue. Unfortunately, I think it's going to result in them losing some ground to the battle for the top 7. Oh, there's a bit of contact, high speed on the exit of the S's. Oh, how do you like it? This battle for the top 7 is going off right now. Through the middle goes Barrett Brummett. There's contact, and sent wide is Adrian Hopp. He'll fall back to P7. He'll fall back further because now he has to serve a slowdown. And, oh, interesting. Niemanen managing to get close to him, but not quite past him now. This is going to open up a big opportunity. Now they are fighting for race 2 pole. Move back up to the battle for 3rd, meanwhile. Mason Kuhn and Rupesh Pineni side by side into the penultimate corner. This is the kind of racing you get all the time at Watkins Glen.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. And indeed, it's actually quite hard to get a pass done here. Not necessarily you don't get the run, but to make it stick, ladies and gentlemen, that is a challenge, especially with this cup layout. It is fantastic racing, but it's got a kind of different set of challenges. It reminds me a little bit of Monza, ironically, just because I was driving it yesterday. Sadly, not in the real world, ladies and gentlemen, but driving Monza yesterday, there's a huge amount of passing opportunities on the straight. But come the corners, like you can defend, and it really does make it quite challenging. As you see here, going side by side up through the up the uphill through the chicane, ladies and gentlemen. Well, sorry, through the chicane, through the S's, and there's not really a lot you can do. All the moves, I think, are going to really come down to how this bus stop goes.
Yeah, it's all about the bus stop, and you run out of it through the carousel too. Hooper at the back now of the top 6 battle. Jose Gustavo continuing to lead proceedings side by side between Mason Kuhn and Rupesh Pineni, and it looks like that's going to be Mason having to serve a slowdown. That's going to result in a bit of side by side. And amazingly, Mason manages to hold on to the position. Seems to be only a minor slowdown, but the slipstream gets picked up by Alan Yang, who's managed to make it up now 3 positions as he moves past Mason, all the way out to the runoff area. Yeah, it's quite the interesting lines you have to take here in the final sector. 3 wide again on the exit of the final corner. Look at how many cars are battling behind for P7. That fight goes all the way down to 16th.
Oh, absolutely fantastic stuff, and indeed, I love the spec racer board for this alone. You can be as quick as you like, but don't get me wrong, if the draft is there, especially on a track like this, you're going to have a very, very hard time shaking the gap. But saying that, if we have a look very quickly at the front, Jose Gustavo and Barrett Blumett, they're together in a pack of 2, ladies and gentlemen, but looking at that, Alan Yang has fallen back by about 2 seconds. Now, I don't think that's anything on Yang by any means. I think there's just been a little bit of body contact potentially. But right now, what's particularly interesting, we'll hold that thought for the minute. I've got a feel that something's about to happen here. We've got 2 cars, 2 wide, 2 rows, ladies and gentlemen, going down into the bus stop. But what is particularly interesting here, Ian Joyner getting caught at the front of this pack now, trying to make his way up towards the podium. As you see there, that's like Jeffrey Wusland taking the scenic route. Incredible stuff here from Ian Joyner here, one of the previous champions, ladies and gentlemen, right now side by side with Philip Bills. Can he go and make it as they go down towards the left-hander? You can see people fighting all that real estate. There's only so much they can do, and it looks like Adrian Hopp there, maybe looking to make a good bit of action there. As you see, a little bit wide there from Joyner, closes off the inside, and it looks like the flower power machine of Adrian Hopp will very much be in the slipstream as they make their way down to start lap 7.
Yes, indeed. Well, here we go then. Down to the thing. Niemanen stopping on the start-finish straight. Oh dear, looks like he's out now. That's a shame there. But we'll keep an eye out for Adrian Hopp, who is...
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be doing some pit road production shopping a little bit later, but let's check out a little bit further back here. Kevin Adrian, he appears to be out there on his own right now. Let's have a look a bit further forward. Oh my word, ladies and gentlemen, 5 cars, and we've got bump drafting going. Sammy Hendricks, this is thinking of you. These guys are all getting in the draft here. Rich Meesters there, getting a little bit loose, pushes a little bit wide. Is this going to be the end for Meesters? Thankfully, he holds on himself and Jeremy Childers, getting a little bit loose there as they make their way out of the bus stop.
Yeah, oh dear. I apologise for continuing to drop out. Having some USB issues at the moment. To hold on to this fight in P14, but oh my lord, this is turning into a chaotic set of proceedings here at Watkins Glen. Meesters managing to make the defense there, and for the moment, Brian Lensdell keep his car nice and tight behind, but they're going side by side again. Looks like Brian got a little bit of a bump from the car behind of Jeremy Childers. It's a vast piece of racetrack ahead of them that is empty. No cars ahead of them. The slipstream offers Meesters just avoids getting into the wall too hard. He is going to keep the momentum up through the S's.
Yeah, Meesters, I remember when this guy was like 1300 IR. Like, this guy, I used to just see him, and I used to see him as a frustration, honestly. And, you know, we spoke, we're good, but since he started the academy, honestly, he's potent, ladies and gentlemen. He is a man to deal with. And right now, his I rating, oh my word, he's been busy. It's up to almost 3,000 I rating. Ladies and gentlemen, 29.62. So if you indeed want to go faster, if you want to go, oh my gosh. Oh dear.
Oh, wow. Oh, no, keep it. Oh, stop in the middle of the track. Oh, that's not good. Oh, okay. Well, Rich Meesters is going to scamper away from that one. On board with Ian Joyner. side by side at the apex and contact with the 51. That sends him spearing into the wall. That's a huge crash for our reigning series champion.
Yeah, absolutely huge. And that's fair to say that Spec Racer Ford is, it's going to be about as much use as a recycling depot at this point, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely mullered, but right now Rich Meese is able to carry on. Let's take a look here at the lead battle, ladies and gentlemen, as Jose Gustavo has been able to hold off Barrett Plummet, but for how long, ladies and gentlemen? There's about 1,000 I rating between the two, and they've got about a 2-second gap behind them. Don't get me wrong, if these guys start fighting, that gap will close very, very quickly, but can the German, American, and indeed, I don't know where Alan Yang is from, ladies and gentlemen. Reese, maybe you can do a little bit better at geography than I can, but can these 3, if not 4 drivers, try and work together to potentially catch up to the podium position, or will they all be fighting out for that last spot on the podium, currently being held by the number 79 car of Mason Kuhn? Absolutely fantastic stuff so far, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Jake Enzer in the chat. Camels look funny when they take tight corners. That is pretty funny. And see here, we've got Joshua in the chat as well. Now, this is out. Swelio is not racing in this today, sir. He is indeed. This is his students, ladies and gentlemen. So, indeed, if you want to go faster, this is what you need to do, ladies and gentlemen. You need to take part in the academy and not just get free part of the league, but you also get all the pit parties. You get the. You get to do the coaching seminars and stuff like that as well as obviously all the course material. But right now, Mason Kuhn currently up 10 positions, ladies and gentlemen. And despite that, he is not the hard charger in the field. It's this man, the Canadian driver, the 175 of Andrew Calabrese.
Oh yes, Andrew Calabrese making his way up to 11th place from 24th on the grid. That's a fantastic run up. And, well, he's under quite a bit of pressure from Zoltan Zomotor at the moment, so it may not be this position he gets to keep, but he'll certainly fight to try and get it back. It's carrying a bit of damage, I think, to the front end as well. That might affect his aerodynamic performance. Keep an eye out for the pack that's chasing them down as well. Meesters, Conrad, Vansevicius, Saunders, Masson, and Kevin Adrian in the red number 10 all the way at the back. They sort themselves into single file through the bus stop. And for the moment, things fall into a bit of a lull, but things will start to ramp up once again because we are close, incredibly close to the final lap beginning. A minute 30 on the clock, and Jose Gustavo and Barrett Brummett are still fighting for the lead as they come through. With a minute and 25 seconds on the clock, 24, yeah, okay. So, looks like about 4 seconds of time will be left when they cross the line next. Whether or not this is actually the final lap remains to be seen.
Yeah, definitely incredibly close competition here. He's got a pack of 2 and a pack of 4, but realistically, the battle is all happening in the mid-pack right now. Currently being led by Zoltan Zomotor. Look at that action, ladies and gentlemen. This is, honestly, this is exactly what you want from a race, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God! Is that Gengara? Either Brian Lenz or James Conrad. Okay. So what happened here? Oh, bit of a miscommunication. Understeer. Oh, it's the elevation transition as you come off the racetrack and onto the runoff. There's quite a hump there, and if you hit it wrong, then it'll seriously wreck your car. So that's going to be the end of the race there for James Conrad for the moment, but he still has 2 races to make it up. Philippe Masson into 12th, and that's a bit of a bump there. Meesters goes for a big slide. I genuinely don't know who's going to finish where at this stage. Our leaders are just coming out of the final corner now with mere seconds remaining on the timer. Is this going to be the end of the race, or do we have one more lap to go? White flag is out. One more lap between Jose Gustavo and Barrett Brummett.
Well, absolutely fantastic action. These guys have been dueling the entire race, ladies and gentlemen. Just one position change between them. They literally swap places. But you got to wonder as well, has Barrett Brummett been sitting there in the slipstream? Is he going to try and time his pass? Indeed, that is a huge part about racing these cars, ladies and gentlemen. As we've got Brian Lenz in the chat there on Pit Road Productions. Disconnected with 1:30 left. We'll try again for Heat 2. Brian, I do sincerely hope you can get back in there. Certainly, we'd love to see you do well. And indeed, Barrett Brummett now trying to make the move as they make their way down towards the bus stop.
He's waited the entire race for this one. He's been sitting behind Jose Gustavo. He's unsuccessful at making the move, and he's lost some time there in the bus stop, but he still has a chance to catch him up here. If he can just get the whisper of slipstream he needs and hope that Jose Gustavo makes an error, Barrett Brummett might be able to take the win here. But as the distance is covered around the final lap, that possibility looks less and less likely. It's side by side for third in the background. Rupesh Pinini and Michael Hooper continue to battle, but we'll give our winner his dues. Jose Gustavo. Oh, yeah, things getting really leery there. But Jose Gustavo in the number 15 is going to take first blood in Season 6 of the Almeida Racing League. He wins race 1 at Watkins Glen. Alan Yang making his way into third. Mason Kuhn and Rupesh Pinini thought it was between them, but it was Alan in the number 5 that ended up getting it done in the end.
Absolutely fantastic battles here, ladies and gentlemen. Andrew Calabresi there, going to finish just behind Zoltan Zomator. He's going to be there in P11. Actually, that's something that's in focus on. You said top 7 there, Reese. Oh, Felipe Pauls will indeed get that benefit of the invert grid, but right now, let's take a little bit of a look further back as indeed the students continue to come flooding across the line. Ladies and gentlemen, what an absolutely fantastic first race. I can see this one a little bit cooking in the kitchen now. I've got a few cars with meatball flags. Jeffrey Atkins, I believe James Conrad, Brian Lenz, not Brian Lenz disconnect, Jeffrey Westland, indeed Ian Joyner. It's definitely interesting to see Joyner getting mixed up in that, but let's try and take a quick look here at the results from race 1.
Yeah, so Jose Gustavo of Brazil takes the win with Barrett Brummett in second place. Alan Yang making his way up from 10th to 3rd. Very impressive run. Rupesh Pinini, a constant presence in the top 5. Mason Kuhn up from 13th to 5th in the end. Could have finished 3rd, though. Michael Hooper finishes in 6th place, with Felipe Pauls getting race 2 pole, finishing in 7th place. So from there on back, they will start where they finished. Adrian Hopp falling back a bit from 4th to 8th. Tyler Harker started 20th and made his way into the top 10 by the end, with Zoltan Zomator rounding out that top 10.
Let's have a look there. Andrew Calabresi took 11th with Steve Saunders in 12th. Philip Masson took 13th with Kevin Adrian there in 14th alongside Valder Spencer Vicious. Rich Meesters there in 16th with Kemal Kasim in 17th. Dominic Sayu took 18th with Chris Gengaro in 19th. And Anthony Ori rounding out your top 20.
In 21st place, it was Jeremy Childers, with Philip Marvin also finishing way down from where he started. Both of them started in the top 10 and had their fair share of issues. Tuka Valkiasuo started 23rd, finished 23rd in the end. Last car on the lead lap. Jeffrey Adkins and James Conrad round out your top 25, with Brian Lenzi, of course, disconnecting. Surely he's back for race 2. Cairo ends 2 laps down. Ian Joyner retiring due to a crash. Same for Jeffrey Westland and Thomas Niemanen. Nemanja Stavric, 9 laps off from the leaders. And Connor Bell, our coach, retiring very early indeed. Well, that brings us to race 2, and of course, you flip the top 7, and that is your top 7. So Felipe Pauls has pole, with Michael Hooper alongside Mason Kuhn and Rupesh Pinini 3rd and 4th, with Alan Yang, Barrett Brummett, and Jose Gustavo rounding out that top 7, Zippy.
Absolutely fantastic stuff indeed. And I do believe Brian Lenz has managed to reconnect. I'm seeing a few drivers here yet to take to the grid, Connor Bell included, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly we do want to see the coach return, as we got Jake Ends in the chat going, Cairo beat in. You know what? I wouldn't be buying the t-shirt, but I would be, taking I guess, the silver lining out of that scenario.
Yeah, of course. It can be brutal in such a competitive field as this when you have those kinds of problems. It's very tight racing as well, thanks to the slipstream. So this track will likely be a bit of an outlier for some. I think it has the highest average speed of any circuit we're going to be going to this season. It's a hell of a place to have an opening round, to be honest.
Oh, an absolutely fantastic track indeed. Certainly the Spec Racer Ford with that draft, and indeed with the stability and the power of the car. I honestly feel it is probably the best car on the iRacing platform if you want to sort of get, refine your skills, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly the Miata is good fun as well, a little bit heavier, a little bit more conventional. Don't get me wrong, most people have never heard of the Spec Racer Ford. And then you get them to drive one in the sim, and all of a sudden the opinion very, very quickly changes, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, I have many a time had the satisfaction of pointing that out. But indeed, we are going to get on the way for race number 2, ladies and gentlemen. And I got to say, Philip Pauls, he's going to be in the hot seat for this one, a club class driver. But indeed, could this be the potential that he's been looking for to try and score some championship points?
Yes, indeed. We'll have to see who from the race 1 junkyard manages to get themselves in with a chance in race 2. Pace car in, and Felipe Pauls will lead us away for the start here. Got a great jump on the rest of the field as they fly away towards turn 1, and Felipe will have no pressure on the way into the first turn. However, once they come out of turn 1, that's when the slipstream kicks in, and Felipe might be in trouble. Mason Kuhn manages to hold on to second place. Alan Yang already trying his best to make some moves, up from 5th to 3rd with Michael Hooper, Jose Gustavo, and Rupesh Pineni right behind him. Looking a bit further back, Philippe Masson, who is now in an orange livery, making his way alongside Rich Meesters for a moment, and already side by side to the lead. There goes Mason Kuhn to the lead. Alan Yang's going to get in it there. Rupesh Pineni with a fantastic slipstream, but he's not going to take advantage around the outside. Gets a little bit of a bump and is sent across the grass. That's going to make a minor slowdown for him, but he'll keep the momentum up and keep himself in the fight. Already things are getting leery.
You know, one of the things I find whenever we start a new season here, Reese, is that we soon get to learn about which drivers are going to be, you know, think about the long game, which ones are going to be, you know, just quiet, reserved, and we just got a little bit of a tell there from the driver of the number 19 car, Rupesh Pinani. He was very much looking to try and make it all the way to the front of the pack there. And fair play, he had the slipstream, but ladies and gentlemen, this is Spec Racer Force. This is a 15-minute race. You've got to think about the strategy here. The car, the setup is fixed, the track is fixed, and indeed everybody is very much a level playing ground, ladies and gentlemen, but you've got to think about the long game. Certainly with the draft in play, there's a little bit more to just leading the race here if you want to get the points at the end of it.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, you know, there has to be a picture of consistency that you set up here in round 1. Often it can be the marker of your entire season, how you end up doing at the first round. Look at this fight, meanwhile. Andrew Calabrese leading the battle for the top 10, but he is under a lot of pressure here. Here comes Kevin Adrian with a magnificent run through the middle. He's going to make his way past Calabrese and Zoltan Zomator on the way into the bus stop and complete the move in style. My God, look at Calabrese there with a great run out of the chicane. Meesters in the just behind, almost getting into the grass. Good Lord, things are quite chaotic here. I genuinely don't know where to keep track of, Zippy. We've got stuff happening everywhere.
I'm having the same battle here, Reese, and certainly indeed there is battles of plenty, ladies and gentlemen, which is exactly what you want. We've done it on the other end, where indeed we've been looking to try and find some action for you, but oh my gosh, I thought they were going to go pretty wide through the final corner then, but it looks like Barrett Blumett now getting into it with Rupesh Pinani, and indeed these guys, got to say, the Indian driver as well. We don't see too many of them here in the Academy, and it's fair to say absolutely loving the fact we do. Ladies and gentlemen, the Almeida Academy, without a doubt, the most international series we've ever broadcast. That's a little bit of a lock-up there from Jose Gustavo. And that has cost him dearly, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Adrian able to make his way forward. But look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Jake Enns is going to be absolutely over the moon. His son Cairo up 16 positions. And indeed, the hard charger in the field right now, 15 positions. Right now, he's got Rich Meesters alongside. And I've got to say, rocking a beautiful British Racing green livery today as well.
Yeah, I know you're a huge fan of that, Zippy. He has given it a couple of battle scars, though, probably by doing stuff like that. Very unafraid to get into the bump draft game. Now, when they were coming into turn 1, I saw a car. Oh my God, all right, scratch that. Goodness me, that's Nemanja Stavric and Valdes Van Savicius and Chris Gangaro. Oh my God, Philip Marvin and Jeremy Childers somehow caught up in all of that as well. That's ridiculous. They have all towed back to the pit lane, and Andrew Calabrese was also pulling over on the run into turn 1. How on earth did this get triggered? I don't even know where to look.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have a little bit of a backtrack here. Let's find out exactly what happened here. So one car goes around in the bus stop. No one goes in. No one to. Ouch! Oh
yeah,
my!
that's a big ouchie right there. Hell of a boo-boo. Get a plaster for that.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's ended the race for 5 drivers there, all at once, which is certainly not ideal. Calabrese, for anyone who's following, has managed to make it back into pit lane, albeit he is crabbing a little down pit lane. Some big damage there for the driver who was fighting for a position in the top 10. Valdez Vancevicius out at the moment. Domenico Sayu as well. Yeah, Jeremy Childers out as well, as Philip Marvin and Jeffrey Adkins as well. So we have quite a few Spec Racer Fords missing a significant amount of bodywork there. But back to the battle for the lead, because it is going off. Mason Kuhn currently leads. Alan Yang and Felipe Pulls piling the pressure on him. And Barrett Brummett, who finished second in race 1, is there in 4th place too. Rupesh Pineni just hanging onto the back of this fight too, on board with Brummett, and you can see how you test different lines through these ending corners at Watkins Glen. It all matters not when you get into the slipstream, and he's got a double slipstream from the cars ahead of him. Just a little graze to the right side of the car there, and he'll just manage to make it out of turn 1 in one piece.
Well, what I am seeing here, Reese, is I remember it being one of the lessons. So you see a bit of connection issue there for the number 19 car, but one of the lessons I remember seeing, and I was almost a little bit irritated because it's one of the things that I do that I don't see that many drivers doing it. And certainly I remember Swelio had it as one of the lessons in the academy there. I remember it was one of the, it wasn't a pit party, it was one of the, what's the word I'm looking for here, Reese? It was like their weekly meeting, their weekly lesson kind of deal. And basically it was about trying to force the driver onto pretty much a crappier line, ladies and gentlemen. And we just saw a perfect demonstration of that going into turn 1. They had them absolutely pinned to the inside. And, you know, don't get me wrong, some people, and I've experienced this before, at some levels of racing, they can't quite digest that because they just pull over to try and take the racing line, assuming you're going to move. And they don't, and it gets a little bit messy. But in this standard of field, ladies and gentlemen, indeed, quite a variety of I-rating in here as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a 1526 I-rating driver in this split, and we go as high, well, Kane Halliburton comes in, he's 8,000 plus, ladies and gentlemen. But my point is that, you know, the Academy, it teaches you how to do these techniques. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Harker and Gustavo with problems there. And Jose all the way out to the edge of the runoff. We'll see what happened to him. So into the first turn. Looks like contact from behind. Oh, that's big. Oh, that's huge contact. And I wonder who the other car was involved there.
I have a feeling it may have been this gentleman here who was
Harker,
he's got an unusual paint going on. We've been trying to track him down for a little bit, so for those of you who do iRacing paints, ladies and gentlemen, and see it's all different colors, the reason that's there is so you can actually try and locate where stuff goes on the paint. I mean, it's a bit confusing. It's like a Harlequin Spec Racer Ford, ladies and gentlemen. But anybody who's in a Volkswagen fan, that'll make a lot of sense. But right now, Connor Bell actually up 20 positions, ladies and gentlemen, in the beautiful gold livery there, 37 car for the Almeida Racing Academy.
Yes, usually when a coach is in a session, you'll see them driving that gold paint, and that marks them out as either someone to fear or someone to fight with, as you get a lot of practice. Yeah, both in equal measure, I think, is a reasonable assessment, but it's a good opportunity to practice your racing nous against some of the best on this platform. Battle for the lead continuing on here as we reach 6.5 minutes to go in the race. Alan Yang has moved to the lead. Felipe Pulls alongside Mason Kuhn there for second. Yang's going to cover the both of them off there, taking the racing line through the S's. We have Brummett, Pineni, Hop, and Adrian right behind them. It's been a good run from Kevin Adrian, up from 14th to 7th. Let's see how much he gets here. They are 2x2 Noah's arcing it on the way down to the chicane. Felipe Pulls gets into the lead, and there goes Alan Yang through as well. Brummett moves to third. Mason Kuhn, the big loser out of that one, forced wide through the chicane, had to take to the grass, and now up against Rupesh Pineni through the carousel.
But not only that, he's got a server slowdown as well. But this is looking really good here for Cairo Ends. We don't want to curse the guy, but if you exclude the coaching talent of Connor Bell, he's up 19 positions, ladies and gentlemen. He'd be the hard charger in the field. Connor Bell up 21, so absolutely fantastic stuff so far. Can he keep it going right now? Not only that, he is second place in the club class. Actually, we've got a club class driver leading the race right now. Philip Pools, he's club class driver, ladies and gentlemen, with absolutely fantastic stuff here. But Cairo Ends leading this second pack of drivers. He's got about 6 people behind him, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to have to work hard to hold on. Meantime, back at the lead, ladies and gentlemen, Felipe Pools still able to hold on. Can he do it for another 5 more minutes?
That is the question. Top 7 still all together here, but it seems that Pools and Yang have formed a bit of a breakaway here. Yang is willing to fight, and I think that, you know, from what I've seen of Alan Yang so far, is the a little bit more aggression compared to others. What has happened in the back? There's a pile up on the exit of the S's. Rich Meesters, one of them involved. Steve Saunders too, and the number 8 as well. Oh, sorry, no, that's a number on the paint. Oh my God. Oh dearie me. Oh, jeez. Yeah, okay, that was there wasn't even an attempted incident avoidance there. That's insane. Okay, how do we even start to dissect that one?
Well, I've got to be honest, Breach, this is a personal high. We have never seen this many meatball flags in a broadcast. We currently have 6, 10, 11 meatball flags in a 32 car field. We're definitely going to have to take a replay of that one. What on earth happened there?
It looks to me like contact between Steve Saunders and Connor Bell. It was actually the coach that triggered this. Made contact with Saunders and then ricocheted into Meesters, and then it was just chaos from there.
Well, I've got to say, as incidents go, it was up there. It was absolutely CC. Yeah. Saunders trying to get going again. Maybe a little bit of netcode, catches another car, which you see, boom, ricochet at the front. Meesters...
Yeah, I don't even know, man.
That was something else.
Meesters drew the shortest straw of all there. It was like a few atoms long, that straw. Oh, good Lord. Well, Saunders limps his way back into pit lane as we have 3 minutes still to run in this race. Interestingly, Alan Yang has fallen to 13th in the midst of all of this. Remember, he was fighting for the lead when we were last looking at him? Something's gone very wrong for him, as you can plainly see.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to play a little bit of catch-up here, find out what happened to Alan Yang. He's now rocking the Open Concept Spec Racer Ford. It's been a while since we saw those. It looks like Ian Joyner joined the pits as well. Let's try and find out what happened to Mr. Yang.
Oh, it was turn 1. Oh, no. So into turn 1, he got a little bit of contact from Felipe Pools. Just ever so slight tap on the exit that sent him around and into the wall. And then, well, he was stopped in the worst possible place. Adrian Hopp went into him, barely had anywhere to go. And that was all she wrote for those two. So now, the battle for the lead is between Barrett Brummett, Felipe Pools, and Rupesh Pineni. Mason Kuhn and Kevin Adrian trying to sort themselves out to see who finishes 4th. And look at this train that they're starting to form here. Well, all right, Rupesh Pineni doesn't want any of that. He's going to get the side draft off the both of them. Round the outside into the chicane doesn't always work. What does Rupesh do? He lets Barrett Brummett go. Felipe Pools, well, he tried his best to stay alongside, but I think discretion was the better part of valor there. That's allowed a tiny bit of breathing room to the number 34, but they'll surely be running on the back of him very soon, especially if lap traffic gets involved.
Yeah, I have a feeling what Rupesh did there, I mean, it was a good move, but I think fighting in the bus stop is going to be very, very expensive. That is a bad beer can of a car ahead of them, ladies and gentlemen, but I have a feeling Rupesh wants it just that little bit more than the other drivers. It's not that they're not motivated, but this guy is keen, he's motivated, and he's aggressive, ladies and gentlemen. He wants that win as white flag lap goes.
Yes, indeed. Well, we've managed to cross the start-finish line with about 1 minute and 18 seconds remaining on the clock. That is less than it takes to complete a lap of Watkins Glen. So now it's all down to Barrett Brummett to see if he can keep Rupesh Pineni behind him. And Rupesh manages to get the slipstream on the way out of turn 1, but a bit unstable over the curb. That arrested his momentum. Mason Kuhn then tries to find his way alongside. Is he going to be able to get it done? Oh, they're still side by side between
my.
Kuhn and Pauls, and here comes the
my
3 wide.
gosh.
Felipe sees the heavens open ahead of him, and Kevin Adrian is going to try and follow him through here. 4 wide into the chicane. God, no, please. Oh, little bit of contact there, and Pineni manages to get alongside, but Felipe Pauls having to take to the escape road.
Down.
He will serve a slowdown. He's going to park it right on the apex and try to keep them all behind.
Oh my gosh, I thought that was going to end much, much worse. Barrett Blumett now trying to make a move on the outside to go 3 wide down towards the left-hander. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot of runoff, but come the right. Oh my gosh, what happened there?
Oh, contact there, sending Kevin Adrian off on the entry into the final corner, penultimate corner, sorry. Speaking of the final corner, Pineni's going to exit it first, but will Brummett be able to get him? Oh, will Mason Kuhn get Barrett Brummett before the line? A super close finish. Pineni is going to take it. And it looks like it's going to be Barrett Brummett that finishes in second by just a few hundredths of a second. Barely anything between Kuhn and Pauls, as that's what happened to Adrian there. It looks like... I think just a bit of side-by-side contact gone wrong.
I'm just trying to find a quick replay there of what actually happened. It seemed kind of weird the way he got hooked up, but certainly Kevin Adrian, I'll vouch for him. He's a clean racer, so definitely a little bit unfortunate there. Did cost him a little bit in the long run, ladies and gentlemen, but still able to get that P7. But I gotta say, that was not the racer I was expecting, as indeed we got a shout out from Jay Kent. And you know what? Rightfully so. Cairo ends going from 27th to 5th. 22 positions gained. You know what, Cairo? We know you've got the potential. That's what we want to see you keep doing. Not only that, a club class 2nd place, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, the action for the lead was so intense that we completely missed that, but well earned 5th place finish there from Cairo ends. Looks like that might be the results from race 1 there.
Oh, sorry,
we'll get the results from race 2. Rupesh Pineni managing to grab the win there. Second time here in the top split. Barrett Brummett. Yes, we're still going to wait for the last couple of cars to cross the line. It looks like that's just happened there, as Valdez Vencevicius was the last car to cross the line. So Pineni, Brummett and Kuhn, and just in time for the warm-up session to start. Incredibly close gaps for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th there. Cairo ends finishing in 5th place behind them, with Michael Hooper, Kevin Adrian, Philippe Masson, Adrian Hopp, and Zoltan Zumator rounding out your top 10. It's been a pretty static night for Zoltan so far.
That's probably a good thing after seeing that last race, but Nemanja Stravic, he took 11th with Alan Yang in 12th. James Conrad took 13th with Chris Gangaro in 14th and Brian Lenz in 15th. Dominic Sayu took 16th with Thomas Neiman in 17th. Ian Joyner definitely not been the races. He's been looking forward today. He's back in 18th with Jose Gustavo in 19th and Tuca Vageseo in 20th.
Yeah, running out the top 20 is the Finn. In 21st place, Stephen Saunders. It was quite an embattled race there for Steve. Kemal Kassim finishes in 22nd place, and Anthony Ori just behind, with Tyler Harker also 3 laps down. All of these drivers involved in some of the big crashes that we've seen. Meesters, Calabrese, Bell, Westland, Vancevicius, and Philip Marvin round out your top 30, and retiring very early on, Jeremy Childers and Jeffrey Adkins. Oh, goodness me. We can take a bit of a breath here because we are joined by our resident coach, Connor Bell. Joins us now. Man, Connor, what a start to the season. You've gotten the short end of the stick a couple of times here so far in the first round, but I think that comes with the territory. Watkins Glen is always going to be quite a chaotic round.
Yeah, being on the short layout here with a lot of long straights, it can provide for some really good racing, especially with these cars, with how strong the draft is. So yeah, I mean, it was a great start to Heat 1. We saw like 3 different packs of 8 cars or whatever it was going at it. So yeah, that was good. Heat 2, not quite as good. Looked like a decent amount of incidents going through the S's there. We had some contact, Steve and I, so that caused about 5 cars to retire. But yeah, let's hope for a little bit of a cleaner feature.
Well, definitely wasn't.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh, sorry, Reese. My apologies. Carry
Go
on,
on,
sir.
Zippy.
Well, it
No,
definitely
you carry
wasn't. It definitely wasn't the race you were looking for by any means, Connor. But don't get me wrong. As lovely as it is to have you here in the booth, let's talk more about the academy, honestly, and certainly what the things we got to look forward to in 2026.
Yeah, so we're going to keep building on this momentum. We have, I believe, 150 odd people registered to the league, so that's spread throughout 4 splits with 2 classes each. That's going to make for a very exciting 11-week season. In terms of our weekly events, coming up this Monday, we do have one of our bi-weekly workshops. So we're going to be continuing to build on what we spoke about 2 weeks ago. And yeah, just looking forward to seeing our students make more improvements. I mean, we can see it here, even in this split here today. There's several drivers above 5,000 I rating that started with the academy a little while ago, and even new drivers that are coming in with 5,000 I rating. So it just shows how we can cater to all skill levels, and I'm really excited for what 2026 has to offer.
Well, not just for the academy, but for Connor Bell. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know him, he is a NASCAR Canada superstar. First race he goes out.
Something like that.
Yeah, but I'll say it. If you won't, I'll say it. Goes out, first NASCAR Canada race, and wins, ladies and gentlemen. That is indeed the way to do it. But certainly, Connor, one thing that's often not fully understood is that the coaching isn't just for sim racing drivers as well. Both yourself, Swelio, Kane, you guys all coach real-world drivers as well. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Certainly, I can think of a particular radical driver who I know that you've coached as well.
Yeah, so the sim is actually super valuable for drivers that want to prep for real-life events too. I find quite a few of my clients are in that category where they're either preparing for a race weekend or preparing to get in the car for the first time. So there's lots of things we can do on the sim. Really, it comes down to identifying some fundamental things they can work on. Typically, some of the habits you'll see as we see someone doing burnouts in the pit lane. Typically what I'll see is, habits that I'm noticing or issues that I'm noticing in the sim will also be similar in real life. So if we can fix those in an environment where there's no consequences, it's going to pay dividends in the real world. So yeah, I've had some success doing that so far and looking forward to doing more of it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is indeed one of the head coaches at the Almeida Racing Academy, and certainly a true gentleman as well, residing in Ontario, Canada, ladies and gentlemen, and very local to one of my personal favorite breakfast restaurants, which Connor is very much aware. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll say it, shameless plug for Broadways, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to get the hash browns. And I got to get them to send me some food. But ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed going to leave Connor Bell to it. Thanks for popping in there, Connor.
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic to have Connor Bell along with us. And we'll get to see him drive one more time here today for round 1 of season 6 of the Almeida Racing League, with Rupesh Pideni winning race 2. He'll get the pleasure of starting from pole for race 3. Barrett Brummett alongside him on the front row. Mason Kuhn and Felipe Pouls will round out your second row, with Cairo Enns and Michael Hooper on row number 3. Kevin Adrian and Philippe Masson, 7th and 8th. It's been a pretty good run from Philippe Masson and Felipe Pouls so far tonight. Good results in both races, with Adrian Hopp and Zoltan Zomator rounding out the top 10.
As you have a look there in P11, it's going to be Nemanja Stravic with Alan Yang in 12th. In 13th, we're going to see James Conrad with Chris Gingaro in 14th. Brian Lenz takes 15th with Dominic Sayu in 16th. Thomas Niemanen is going to be there in 17th alongside former champion, ladies and gentlemen, Ian Joyner. Jose Gustavo is going to be in 19th with Tuca Valdeseo in 20th.
Stephen Saunders started 12th in race 2, had to settle for 21st in race 2 with a crash. He'll start from 21st alongside Kemel Kasim, with Anthony Ori in 23rd, Tyler Harker alongside him on row 12, Rich Meesters and Andrew Calabrese, an all-Canadian 13th row, with Connor Bell and Jeffrey Westland just behind them. Valdes Vansavicius, Philip Marvin, Jeremy Childers and Jeffrey Adkins round out the 32 cars taking to the start once again. And thus far, we have had all of our drivers take all 3 race starts today. So that is a very good run from everybody, and great commitment as well. Now it's time to put the hammer down and see how well you can commit for the next 20 minutes, because race 3 is about to go. Barney waves the green flag, and we are away. Rupesh Pineni tasting victory. Let's see if he can grab another one as they come into turn 1. Barrett Brummett falls behind Mason Kuhn, and side by side for third, Felipe Pulls manages to get the outside exit on Cairo Enns, who is going to be feeling the pressure, I think, starting up in the top 5 here after his best result in a very long time. Let's see what he can do there in that British Racing Green machine, but it's the mottled orange machine of Mason Kuhn that gets the move done on Rupesh Pineni in the bright red car, and it's 2 by 2 by 2 on the way into the chicane, as it looks like there might be a couple of incidents further back in the field. Side by side for second, and sent wide goes. Oh my goodness, that is very wide indeed for Felipe Pulls. Meanwhile, it was almost 4 wide in the battle for 10th on back, and Adrian Hopp has come off way worse than second best.
Yeah, definitely a little bit unfortunate for him, but I have to wonder here, are we going to see a little bit of high risk, high reward from the driver of the number 19? He's got that win. He's got the taste of victory, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, virtual champagne may have been spraying upon the number 19 car, but is it going to be enough? As Cairo Enns, he's managed to get a huge advantage over the club class former winner, ladies and gentlemen. Philippe Pulls there in the previous race, and right now he's got himself and 5 cars between him. He's just got to keep it clean as ends. This could be an absolutely fantastic point stall. Low risk, high reward, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we're going to be preaching today here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. Like I mentioned earlier, it's NASCAR Super Speedway style racing. You get in a pack, you take advantage of the slipstream, and you don't want to go for moves too early because it'll put you on the back foot a little bit later. This is the view on board from Alan Yang, who's just trailing on the back of this battle in the top 8. They're almost going 4 wide there for the lead. Barrett Brummett will be first to the apex for the moment, but things will start to get a little understeery through here. Great run out of the chicane from Alan Yang, sneaks up the inside of Kevin Adrian, and there's just enough room to allow him to unsettle Michael Hooper as well. The side-by-side battles continue, and it's going to be Mason Kuhn who has the best run of all. He's got some breathing room here as Cairo Enns is going to try and run side-by-side with Pineni and Brummett. Almost a bit of contact there through the penultimate turn, and Enns already has a couple of battle scars to show for it.
Yeah, he's just got to keep the car clean, ladies and gentlemen. That is the name of the game, as Felipe Pulls has indeed managed to regain that club class lead, ladies and gentlemen. But don't get me wrong, there's still very much a lot to play for. It's a 20-minute race. We've got 17 minutes left to go. And indeed, you can see the closing speed there. Alan Yang was at the back of that pack just shortly ago. And now he's moved his way a little bit forward there. As I say that, falling back a little bit there. Kevin Adrian rounding out that pack now. The top 8 all very much in contention for a race win. Further back, though, Ian Joyner and Zoran Zorantor, they're going to be seeing this battle happen ahead and seeing nothing but opportunity here. Ian Joyner will be keen to return to the podium here at the Almeida Racing Academy.
Yeah, Ian and Zoltan are both very experienced drivers in this league, and they've raced around each other a bit as well. I certainly hope that they'll call a bit of a truce and work together to try and catch up to these guys, because they're going side by side through almost every corner here and costing each other, you know, mere tenths of a second at a time, but that can make all the difference. See how close they are already. They are just about to get some slipstream off of Alan Yang. Mason Kuhn continuing to lead the way, but I noticed at the start of this lap he ran a little bit wide and just tapped the wall on the exit of turn 1. That almost allowed Felipe Pulls and Rupesh Pineni back past him, but we'll have to wait and see what works out for him here as they come around to begin lap number 4. Preemptively defensive from Barrett Brummett on Cairo Enns. Brummett nice and deep into turn 1. That's very wide from Rupesh Pineni. Meanwhile, he lets Felipe Pulls go. Mason Kuhn manages to keep it out of the wall this time.
Well, certainly you got to really go and push the track limits as hard as you possibly can, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, a 32-car grid here today, and I got to wonder as well, you know, what's the play for this? You know, you're in a big pack, but already you see Ian Joyner over a second faster per lap there. Further back though, Valdez Fansavicius actually breaking it into the 120s, ladies and gentlemen, back in P15. Oh,
bless you. Here we go then. Mason Kuhn leading again out of the chicane as everyone fanned out behind him and tried to slot into their relevant positions. I'm amazed that Enns has still managed to hold on to third place here as Pauls has gotten a slowdown. Looks like he might have run a bit deep as Ian Joyner and Zoltan Zumutor well and truly join this fight now. It's the entire top 10 all covered by just under 2 seconds.
Well, indeed, Felipe Pauls is going to have to slave this slowdown. There you go. It's gone. I thought it's going to carry that a little bit too long, ladies and gentlemen. But indeed, it's looking good here. Cairo Enns very much at the front right now. He's not only got that, he's leading club class, and indeed, he's on the podium, ladies and gentlemen. This could be the result he's been looking for. But indeed, it is early days with about 16 minutes left to go. You see 3 wide in the background. That's Zumutor, Joyner, and Felipe Pauls there fighting it as they go down into turn 1.
Looks like that's Alan Yang that they're fighting with there. Yang falling back to 9th place. And, well, now they've fallen back from the battle again. Little bit of back and forth. Brummett's crashed and Cairo Enns has crashed in the S's.
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, looks like they just managed to escape in time. My God. Oh, okay. Scratch that. It looks like there's been further issues. Have a look at this. Enns is going to continue on and... Oh, that's so incredibly close. And, oh dear, just looks to me like Brummett got hooked into the right front of Enns there. I probably wouldn't call either driver to be particularly at fault for that one. Just a really unfortunate coming together, but Enns is going to miss out on his potential podium. He's towed back to pit lane. That's a real shame.
Yeah, Stanley, we're going to pin that one on Jake Enns actually there. He said good, clean, early driving, but they are going hard. So, yep, Jake, it's not the commentator's curse. It is indeed the chat's curse on that one. As you say, brought that
Spectator's
to an end.
curse?
Yeah, he says brought that to an end. Like, oh my gosh. That's a terrible pun, but accurate.
Well, you can tell he's a dad.
Yeah.
Kevin Adrian, meanwhile, takes the fastest lap. He's made his way up to 3rd, and he is right behind Kunan Pineni. Michael Hooper with them as well. We could see Hooper be in contention for the race win. Ian Joyner back there in 5th place. He's got Zumutor and Yang with him as the slipstream kicks in again, and Pineni goes to the lead. Kevin Adrian's going to try and follow him here. 3 wide for 2nd place and then 3 wide for the lead. Kevin Adrian has the inside for the bus stop, and I'm sure he'll be brave enough to go for it there. But Pineni, well, you know what? Fair play to Rupesh. He's actually playing this pretty wisely. When he sees that someone is going for a move, he just lets them have it because he knows that he's going to have infinite chances going forward.
Yeah, certainly. Sometimes you gotta sacrifice your pride a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, especially here at Watkins Glen. As you see there already, the draft, he's going to try and make a move up on the left hand of the second to last corner, ladies and gentlemen, as indeed these guys continue to battle. But somewhere in the mix of this, Felipe Pauls ended up getting caught in that action as well. We're going to take a quick look at the replay and find out exactly what happened to that driver.
All right, well, we will take indeed a look as they make their way out of the final corner. Felipe Pauls had some fantastic drives early on, but it seems like he was lifting off potentially to clear a slowdown. Just got tapped in the rear. Looks like maybe a bit of a miscommunication there.
Yeah, certainly if you are indeed on the racing line and then try and lift off, I would have hit you as well. Not intentionally, but it just would have been the way it would have gone, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, as Jeffrey Westland has just gone and absolutely smashed the fastest lap there, getting down to a 120.59. That is really shifting.
Oh. That really is. He's battling with Valdas Vansavicius for 10th place. This is that fight. Rich Meesters, Philippe Masson, and Anthony Ori are right there with them. And to the grass! Oh my goodness, yeah, Philippe Masson there having to take to the grass. So difficult when you're racing 2-3 wide down the straight there to try and slot yourself in. You know, your trajectory can end up getting you off the racetrack, which is far from ideal. But Philippe, I have known in previous seasons to be a careful driver. I think he was just anticipating the door be left open for him, but they were looking to go 3 wide for that position. So, well, no harm, no foul in the end. Masson is still in it, and he tends to take care in these situations. He's one of those drivers that when he has a good race, he stays out of trouble.
Yeah, saying about a good race, I'm keeping an eye on this guy here. He's starting to appear on my radar a little bit, and indeed the damage is a good sign, ladies and gentlemen, to suggest what I'm going to say here. But it looks like Jeffrey Westland not afraid to start mixing up, not afraid to start pushing his elbows out, ladies and gentlemen. As indeed, don't get me wrong, it's paid off for him in this scenario. He's now up to P10, but I do have a wonder just how long he's going to get away with that. Certainly the thing about racing in a league, ladies and gentlemen, is you start to learn who's going to behave in which ways. And don't get me wrong, it's aggressive racing, you know, it's competitive racing, but you'll soon find that people will stop drifting and stuff like that, and you will find you might just get a little bit of a nudge there. I've got to wonder if he's maybe burning some bridges a little bit early there. Rich Meese is trying to give him a little bit of a wedge and push him a little bit further down the track.
Yep. Drivers pairing up, helping each other out. Westland finally managing to get beyond his race 1 qualifying position as Valdez Vancevicius is sent wide there out of the chicane. He will have to make way for a few drivers. Things really heating up in the battle for the lead as well. In what is effectively the blink of an eye, Ian Joyner finds himself in 4th and looking at a podium position here. This bright yellow machine is always one to look out for. Remember, reigning series champion that we're riding on board with here catches the slipstream off of Michael Hooper and then off Rupesh Pineni as he tries his best to defend into turn 1. Mason Kuhn, for the most part, has been minding his own business up the front. Every time these guys have caught up to him, they've gotten involved with each other, and he's just driven away again.
Yeah, the more that these guys keep fighting, the better it's going to be. Don't get me wrong, he's got a break to at least probably a second, maybe even 1.2 seconds to be clear of that draft, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, Joyner made his way up to 2nd place, albeit only just as right behind him. Michael Hooper there. Is he going to try and force it free wide? I believe they thought about it, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like Punami now trying to give him a bit of a shove as well. As Philip Masson, I believe he's back in the grass, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, certainly likes to do a bit of lawn mowing, does our resident Frenchman. We'll see what he can do here, battling with the Canadian Rich Meesters.
There we go.
That's oh dear, oh no, and Masson could barely do anything to avoid that one. Jeffrey Westland and Anthony Ori, I believe, making that contact there, and all 3 of them now have mechanical black flags to their name. Again, a crying shame to see. But when you're battling at these high speeds, sometimes one false move can result in disaster.
Well, we see Brian Lenz has made it to the chat as well. I had a great time. I'm not too very awesome a day. That sounds like English that I would have written, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, thanks though, ton of fun. As you see him there saying, ouch. Yeah, fair play. Tell you what, Brian, why don't you pop into the PRP Discord? We'll have a quick chat with you, get a driver's point of view. Indeed, you know where to find us, sir. As Brian Lenz, sadly not the race he was looking for today.
No, some pretty bad luck for Brian, all things considered. It's a shame because he qualified 14th for race 1, ended up getting a 15th place finish for race 2. Well, we'll keep an eye on the battle for the lead still, because through goes Michael Hooper. He has made his move now with what looks to be 5 laps to go. When they come to the line next, Ian Joyner sees the door open through the carousel and a clear track ahead of him. Out they come then onto the back straight, and that's a really nice exit from Michael Hooper. Again, using all of the runoff to its fullest extent, which you're allowed to do on this layout, but Mason Kuhn's the one who gets the best run down the straight, flings up the inside into the penultimate corner, and will carry that momentum through to the last turn. Looks like no lap traffic ahead of these guys, so they are free to battle for the next 5 laps. That's how long we've got to go here.
Oh, indeed, it's going to be an absolutely fantastic race so far. You see Mason Kuhn in the front, Michael Hooper trying to find a way forward, but indeed these guys are battling out the whole time, though. Alan Yang starting to get that a little bit closer. Zoltan Zomator as well. He's bringing Jose Gustavo, but right now leading the club class, ladies and gentlemen. Tyler Harker in the Harlequin paint, ladies and gentlemen. He's currently at the back of this pack. I mean, this is a great opportunity for him. He's got 4.3 seconds behind to Valsas Pansavicius, who's P2 in the club class.
And best of all for Tyler, he has got the entire slipstream of this top 9 ahead of him. So Let's see what kind of moves he can make. Switches to the inside there. Had a bit of a look on Kevin Adrian. Kevin maybe spooked a bit by that. Goes deep, and there's contact with the number 15 of Jose Gustavo. And head on into the Armco goes Kevin Adrian. And that may well be day done there. He's still rolling, but there's heavy damage to that car.
Yeah, definitely not the best of luck he's had. Just gets a bit of a shove there on the inside. Not quite able to gather it up. And fair play. This is why passing in the bus stop is a high-risk maneuver. Don't get me wrong, you got to get it done, but unfortunate result there for Kevin Adrian. You can see there that car very badly damaged.
Yeah, I think he's going to be taking that one straight to the pits. No mechanical black flag to his name, but it clearly doesn't look like a nice car to drive. So we'll see what he does from here. Tight through the final corner. It's a very interesting pit entry at Watkins Glen. You're slowing down on the racing line to get into pit lane, but fortunately no one around him. So Adrian will be able to get some repairs done, but with no fast repairs in this league, he might be in there for a while. Well, Ian Joyner has moved to the race lead. Mason Kuhn's going to try and get it back from him immediately, and there goes Michael Hooper with the mammoth launch out of the S's. Gets back into the lead by the time they get to the bus stop again. Joyner is trying to consolidate his position here. He's a wily fox, is Ian Joyner. He has a lot of experience racing in situations like this, and that's the main reason why he's champion of this series coming into this season. He'll certainly have a few surprises and aces up his sleeve, I'm sure.
Indeed, certainly, you know, you're going against a seasoned driver. Not only that, you're going against a previous champion, ladies and gentlemen. It is not by accident by any means. Certainly Ian Joyner was not blessed with a four-leaf clover back there. So it looks like Jose Gustavo and Tyler Harker getting into it a little bit further back as well. These guys having a bit of a battle. Biggest thing for them, they want to make sure that they stay with Zoltan Zomotor, and indeed with that pack starting to open up a little bit there. There's about a second gap there between Zomotor and Painani, and indeed this could be absolutely you know, catastrophic should they lose the draft. But further back though, Philip Marvin. No, sorry, my apologies there. Jeremy Westland still out on track with a meatball flag. Ladies and gentlemen, this driver is going to be needing a little bit of a coaching from the stewards there, because that's not going to work out in his favor in the long run.
No, you have to, the mechanical black flag there, the orange circle on the black background, you need to come into the pit lane to get your car repaired. 4 wide for second, meanwhile, as my timing screen is on fire. Oh my God, speaking of on fire, the fireworks have gone off. Alan Yang and Michael Hooper, both heavy into the barriers at the bus stop. They were fighting for the lead on the way into the corner. That's a real shame. Hooper just coming across there. I don't think he realized that Yang was alongside him.
Yeah, definitely not the line he was looking for, ladies and gentlemen. Here you go. 3 wide. Oh,
yeah, 2 into 1. Yeah. It's a shame. And so that will leave just a few more drivers ready to take this fight to the flag. Ian Joyner now leading by about a second, which is about what you need to get the slipstream. The question is, can Pineni, Kuhn, and Zomotor, Jose Gustavo in there as well, can they work together to catch up to Joyner? Because if they keep battling like they are, Ian's just going to drive away from them.
And indeed, if they're going to do that, they've got to be quick about it. Ladies and gentlemen, how much do they want the win, or are they just going to fight each other? Certainly, myself versus Ian Joyner, I don't think I could catch him. I would need more than just good luck there. But don't get me wrong, the gap at about 1.3 seconds. We'll keep an eye on it next lap by. But if these guys keep fighting, it's fair to say that Joyner will pretty much just check out, have his airplane ticket, and indeed be sat on a beach drinking a tequila somewhere before these guys have realised what's happened.
Oh dear, Anthony Ori with a disqualification flag next to his name. I get the feeling he might have either stayed out of the pits too long for a mechanical black flag, or maybe exceeded an incident limit on the server. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, we're not seeing any more of Anthony Ori from this one. Not the best start to his season. Tuukka Valkeasuo, meanwhile, a driver that we've haven't given much attention to in this broadcast. He's mostly been down in the doldrums and involved in some incidents, which has kept him from realizing his true potential. But here he is, battling for 14th with James Conrad, another driver who's had a pretty rough day.
Yeah, definitely not the battle they're looking for. You see a bit of damage there on the front of the 1-2-3 car on that left front corner, but indeed, battles are hopping all over the place with Adrian Hopp there leading us. We got a white flag, and we've got a beer can of a car. Ladies and gentlemen, who is that now?
Oh dear. Looks like Jeffrey Adkins.
It's Cairo.
Cairo down in 25th place, still out there, and well, just holding on. We'll see what he can do here on the final lap as the fight continues for 8th place. Jeremy Childers, Adrian Hopp, Kimmel Kassem and Jeffrey Adkins will fight hard over that. Contact between Rupesh Pineni and Mason Kuhn for 3rd. Ian Joyner, as I said, the guys behind him were battling too hard, and he's been allowed to drive away from them. It is the final lap of the race, the final lap of the day for round 1 of the ARL for this 6th season. A little bit of lap traffic to join our battlers here. Westland and Jose Gustavo side by side into the final corner as Ian Joyner is going to grab the final victory of the day. A fantastic drive there from Ian, up 17 positions. Same for Jose Gustavo, who finishes in 2nd. Fantastic drives from the both of them. Lot of rubbing up against that safer barrier on the exit of the final corner. Adrian Hopp gets into 9th place. How are the position gains from Vancevicius, Childers, and Adkins? Childers up 23 positions, Vancevicius and Adkins up 22 positions each. Incredible stuff.
Absolutely fantastic stuff indeed there. As I see Rich Meesters, he seems happy about that. Doing some burnouts, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, rocking the best colour for wheels, ladies and gentlemen. It's a bronzish colour indeed. The cool camel indeed being a cool camel. But what an absolutely... it was a colourful race, that one, right?
Yeah, both visually and event-wise. I don't even know what words to use, but man, that was incredible stuff. We're still waiting on Nemanja Stavric to find his way to the line, and then our results will become official, I believe. Just waiting for the number 50 all the way from Serbia to exit the final corner and come across the line. We also have another car out there at the moment, a couple more. Vancevicius out there too, and waiting for the call there. But the race has gone official, and we can go through our final results there. Ian Joyner from 18th place. Well, he took a bit of a roundabout route to get there, but he does indeed take victory in race 3, with Jose Gustavo in 2nd and Rupesh Pineni in 3rd, with Mason Kuhn and Zoltan Zomator rounding out your top 5. Rich Meesters up 19 places to P6, and those donuts would have tasted especially sweet there. Vancevicius up 22 places, Childers up 23, Adrian Hopp finishes in 9th where he started. Jeffrey Adkins from 32nd dead last makes his way to 10th.
Fair play to him there. In 11th, we had Kemal Kassim with Philip Martin there. Marvin's, my apologies there, in P12. Tuka Valcasio, he was there in 13th with James Conrad in 14th. Alan Yang, he took 15th with Andrew Calabrese in 16th. Jeffrey Westland, certainly a driver to keep an eye on there. He was there in 17th with Steve Saunders in 18th. 19th, we had Anthony Ori, and then Kevin Agin. Definitely, he got given a short straw in that one, rounding out your top 20.
In 21st, it was Kevin Adrian. He was fighting in the lead pack, but unfortunately some contact led him astray, and it's 21st for him. Tyler Harker also was up there, but has to settle for 22nd. Philippe Masson, just some rotten luck for the Frenchman, down to 23rd position in the end, with Nemanja Stavric, the last driver to cross the line in that race. Cairo ends, finishing down in 25th place, 7 laps down with lots of repairs to be done. Domenico Sayu, Barrett Brummett, Brian Lenz, Felipe Pulls, and Thomas Niemanen rounding out your top 30. Then it was Chris Gengaro, our last driver to be seen towards the end of the race. Connor Bell retiring very early in that final race, so No more to be seen from our coach, but some more to be seen from our various drivers here as Ian Joyner joins us for the first of our driver interviews. Welcome, Ian. As I was saying on the results read, it took a bit of a roundabout route for you to get there, but a win in the first round of your title defense. What was it like from your perspective? Because from our perspective, we just couldn't catch a break. So much was happening.
Yeah, I was just saying it's a tough, from a racing point of view, it's a tough track for the first one of the season. It's not necessarily the hardest track to drive, but yeah, the draft and the side-by-side and the cars all packing up. It was loads of fun, but yeah, really tough to survive, which to be honest, my first 2 runs weren't that bad. It was just, the incidents I had were massive and destroyed the car, so that was a shame. I think I've survived long enough. Somehow I meatballed. Still finished 18th in the second one, so I guess there was a lot of people in a similar place. It's obviously nice to have a good run through in the last one.
Yeah, indeed. And, you mentioned the track and how difficult it is to really gauge things at such a slipstream heavy venue. I suppose the running order, the general order of drivers that we're going to see throughout the season, we're probably not going to get a clear picture of things until the end of round 2. Do you think the same?
It'll definitely be different for sure. This one, like qualifying, I don't know, I probably could have done a better lap in clean air anyway, but certainly I'd like to think my pace was probably a little bit better than where I qualified. And there's probably not many tracks that are as draft heavy as is for a pure qualifying point of view, but yeah, we'll see. To be fair, most of the tracks with this car involve a bit of draft anyway. This is just an extreme one, so yeah, I think we'll see. We'll certainly, I'm sure things will look a bit different next time out.
And coming into this as the reigning series champion, did you feel any pressure coming into the first round here, or was it just a case of, another season, start again from scratch and continue on as you are?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a learning experience doing the league. That's what I've kind of always thought about these, and it's great to see the field so big. A few new faces, so yeah, the amount of racecraft practice packed into those 3 races was fairly amazing, really. So that was good, and yeah, just hope to see more of it. Everyone will keep learning. We've seen, a bunch of people last season improve so much through it, and I'm sure we'll see it again. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting good races all the way through. So looking forward to it.
As are we, Ian. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll hopefully be talking to you again next round. Great stuff.
Thanks, guys.
Ian Joyner there, and Zippy, I understand you've had a chance to catch up with Valdas Vansevicius, who finished 7th in the final race.
Well, Valdas, definitely good to see you here in the interview booth. And indeed, what an eventful day it's been for yourself. Able to take the club class win, P7 overall in that main feature race. Tell us a little bit about your strategy here at Watkins Glen.
First of all, yes.
Fair, buddy. That's so fair.
My strategy, I know, survive. Actually, up until I crossed the finish line, I didn't know I was leading my class, so that was a nice surprise. We sort of, me and Rich were helping each other out, catch up with the group, and then I think there was some sketchy stuff going on that I've managed to avoid, and here I am. Wasn't so lucky in the second race though.
Yeah, definitely a few. I think we may have reached a personal best there for meatball flags we've ever seen in a broadcast, having about a third of the field eating lasagna in the pits at one point. But ladies and gentlemen, it's going to make for an interesting watch later there, Valdas. But tell us a little bit about your perspective here at the Academy. Certainly, we've seen you for a couple of seasons before, and I think this is the first time we've ever actually got to speak to you. It is indeed an honor. But Valdas, tell us a little bit about how you've been developing your driving skills here through the Almeida Racing Academy.
Yeah, I know, slowly, steadily, but surely. It's a very good experience. The thing I can suggest most is to attend the workshops. You can watch videos, read, do whatever, but workshops is where you put things to practice. of course, there are other events as well, but yeah, some just click and you learn a new skill, and then refine it over the next weeks. And it's been a steady progress with some aha moments, and hopefully more of those to come.
Well, certainly, I can definitely relate when it comes to that. Certainly, when you think about trying to learn or develop a skill, you know, I remember the days where you used to get the overhead projector, and indeed, anybody who's born after probably 1995, 2000 will probably have no idea what I'm on about and think I'm a diddly old man. That's fair. I am indeed feel like an old man. I'm actually 35, but certainly, when you try and learn a new skill, it went from that to a presentation, and then we got into like videos and stuff like that. But the best way I find to learn a new skill is indeed you need to see a little bit of a demonstration, and then you need to go out and do it in the workshops. It is the only experience I've seen of that where drivers will learn a theory, learn a technique, and then put it into practice with the coaches observing. It's absolutely fantastic. And indeed, Valdez, pretty much just give it a shout out there. But I gotta say, what an absolutely phenomenal race here. Able to get a club class win. Been a while since we've asked anybody this, but is there anybody you'd like to shout out for today's performance?
Absolutely. My number one sponsor being my family, sitting right over there to my left, watching the stream. Supporting me, allowing me to, carve this time out almost every weekend. I couldn't be happier. Thanks.
Well, indeed, very, very valid point there, Valdez Spencer. And family, hello. We'd like to wish you congratulations. Your family member there has indeed won the club class podium. But Valdez, we're going to leave you to it for now, and hopefully we'll see you back in the booth later on in the season.
Thanks. I hope so too. Thank you, guys.
I gotta say, very modest, very polite driver there. Good to catch up with him. But Reese, I understand you've been able to catch up with. I almost feel like we should call this guy Dice, because pretty much you roll it. That depends on where he's going to be. Reese, what do you got to say?
Yeah, Cairo ends joining us here, and man, the start of race 3 there was very much a high for you, but this track is brutal at the best of times, and the racing can be a bit of a roll of the dice at times.
Yeah, coming up through T4, it was it seemed like I had a bit of a run on Barrett there. When he moved over to the right, it just said, hey, come on my inside, I'm open for you. And so I was like, all right, I'll take that. And turns out it wasn't as open as I thought. And yeah, I'm not sure if it was a racing incident or who's at fault for that one. It seems a bit of a gray area, but we'll see what the stewards have to say about that one.
Yeah, I think high-speed contact in this car, it can muddy the waters a little bit, but regardless, you've shown once again that you have the potential to finish really well in these races. Are there any tracks on the schedule that jump out to you as places where you could project a similar performance?
To be honest, I don't even remember what the schedule looks like. I've been so busy with Christmas, I haven't looked at it, so...
Fair enough. Well, we do have a wide variety of tracks. We're going to Montreal. We're going to Catalonia for an endurance race. Going to Motorland Aragon. Finishing the season at Lebanon as well. So a wide variety of venues to choose from.
Yeah, wide variety of venues, wide variety of track types, track styles. Some have some really interesting technical sections. I know Lebanon has really interesting bankings that you got to deal with. Montreal is always a fun track. It's the curbs are going to be brutal, but they're also going to be fun. It's going to make for some crazy racing, I'm sure.
Yeah, plenty of crazy racing indeed. It's been good to see your development, Cairo, over the course of the last few seasons that we've broadcast here. The Spec Racer Ford has smiled on you more than once. And we'll see if your fortunes end up changing. There were some flashes there of what might be for you this season, and I'm sure you're going to be working hard to accomplish all of that. But for now, thanks very much for joining us, and hopefully we'll be seeing you right up there next week.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's Cairo Enns there, who missed out on getting the result he was looking for, but was certainly right up there. Well, Zippy, that brings the racing portion and the interview portion, in fact, the entire broadcast, to a close here. Yeah, I am going to be flopping straight into bed after this because that wore me out.
Well, honestly, it was an absolutely rampant round of racing, and indeed, there's definitely going to be some lessons learned by a few drivers, and indeed, myself included. I learned a bit of strategy here this week, and then I'm going to give Swelly a little bit of stick, actually, in the nicest of possible ways. Is I want to get a little bit of footage from one of these workshops, because the more I speak to these drivers, the more I'm hearing that this is indeed the bread and butter, one of their favorite things about the academy and how they're picking up the skills the most. Don't get me wrong, the courses, you can do that on your own time. The workshops are scheduled, but they have several of them going when they do indeed go off. So indeed, we've got to speak to Connor Bell or indeed Kyle, see if we can get some footage of that, just to try and give you guys a little bit of a demonstration indeed. But absolutely fantastic stuff. And I did actually, I remember going and watching them, and it was the one I watched was basically forcing your opponent onto a worse line. And it's fair to say it works, ladies and gentlemen. It very much works. And indeed, what an absolute incredible round, ladies and gentlemen. What an incredible round indeed. Very grateful to have the Almeida Racing Academy here on Pit Road Productions. But I think that's just about going to bring it to a close. Reese, any closing thoughts? We take a little bit of a break here and see a beautiful new advert from the Academy 3.0.
Oh, well, I've got nothing to say other than I'm already looking forward to next week.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, a man of many words. Indeed, we may have... Oh, he's back. We may have indeed worn him out, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Reese Gardner, who is going to be getting a new microphone or hub or whichever it may be. We'll put it on the expenses, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you very much for watching. We'll see you at the same time again next week. And be sure to hit the subscribe button, not just on our channel on Pit Road Productions, but also on Swellio's channel as well. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you very soon.
Now he's here teaching all his secrets to all these drivers. This is Almeida Racing Academy,
where every champion has a starting line.
The sim racer turned real world superstar, Swellio Almeida.
It's Connor Bell racing in his own backyard for the very first time in the NASCAR Canada Series.
The workshops helped out so much. Something about battling with somebody faster than you, it just pushes you that little bit further, and I was able to just keep developing my skill.
I can kind of commit more with the exit there. That was good. If you do take sim racing seriously, it does impact your racing technique for the rest of your life.
I know how the car is going to perform around these corners because the model I have in the sim. Just the benefit of sim racing when you go into real life, I don't think people quite realize it yet.
You have infinite track time is the biggest factor. You are able to try so many things, and the physics that are simulated in the sim nowadays, especially iRacing, are so close to real life.
Creating champions.
Swellio Almeida is a master at his craft. He's outclassed a Le Mans driver, a European Le Mans Series racer.
These guys are among the top 0.02% in the world.
Designed to create champions.
First NASCAR Canada start. First NASCAR victory for Connor Bell.
Connor Bell standing on the podium here today.
This is the Almeida Racing Academy 3.0.
Wait a race, buddy. Wait a race.
you.